Am I the butthole for reporting my neighbors? I've, female, 26, been living in this same apartment complex for about 5 years now. In the 5 years I've lived here, I haven't had any issues with any of my neighbors until recently. A year ago, a new couple moved in. Things started off rocky because they chose to move in at 12 a.m. on a weekday. Everyone in the apartment asked them to be quieter as they moved, but throughout the week they were super loud. More time passed and the noise didn't stop. The guy stomps around, and the woman is constantly slamming drawers and screaming. They run the laundry past 2 a.m. Eventually, I asked them to be quieter. The apartment's quiet hours are from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. I get laundry goes a little long, but 2 a.m.? I also asked that they be more courteous about their pets. It wasn't fair that neighbors had to listen to their dogs howl and cats scream well past 1 a.m. The guy immediately became defensive and said they're animals and can't help it. He works early and has to have his uniform clean. He went on about how he was a veteran and needed his animals. I told him because they were so loud I knew that they were home around 6 p.m. If they run the laundry around then they could easily do 2 loads that would finish around 11. I also told him I get the pets help him, but he could train them to be better behaved. I also get up early, so having his pets act up and his laundry going past 12 was very disruptive. Suffice to say, we don't get along. Recently, there's been this loud sound, like an old engine or a generator. It starts around 11 and goes through the night. I slept in the living room for a while and figured it would stop soon. I was wrong. I went up to ask them about the sound, but the woman smirked and called her partner over. He told me he purchased an AC and would not be turning it off. I said that was fine, but maybe he could move it or place something under it to muffle it. He slammed the door in my face, so I reported it to the property manager. Apparently this was the 5th complaint they had since moving in, so they were fined $500. Since then, they made a point to tell me I have put them under insane financial strain. I feel bad, but I tried to talk to them. Should I feel bad? Am I the butthole? Edits: it's definitely not just the AC/laundry/pets. There was a character restriction when I posted, but they've gotten complaints for leaving trash in the stairwell for weeks, not cleaning after their pets, hosting parties during the week for reasons unknown to the other residents, etc. I tried to post the complaints more related to the issue I filed the complaint on. Yes, there are daily living sounds, but this complex has certain mechanisms built in to mitigate this. An example is the cabinetry. They have a springy thing that prevents them from being slammed, and little pads at the corners to muffle sound. For someone to slam the drawers hard enough for the sound to be audible despite these mechanisms is insane. I guess also for reference, I've lived in apartments most of my life. Having grown up overseas, it's quite common for families to live in high-rises. I'm not sure if it's unique to certain cultures, but I feel like it's just common courtesy to adhere to certain rules, especially if more than one person has voiced concern. Not the butthole. Yes, $500 will likely have a significant impact. Hopefully, it also has a significant impact on their noise level. You tried to speak with them, but they declined to engage with you. That was their choice, essentially let the management company handle it. And they did just that. Finally, you didn't impose the fine. Nor did you know that was their 5th complaint. Nor was your complaint made in bad faith. All of this. Obviously it's not just the original poster having issues, otherwise they wouldn't be on their 5th complaint. I bet after the first complaint the neighbors were told that more complaints would result in a fine, yet they chose to be dicks about the AC. Exactly. I would imagine they were made aware of all 4 previous complaints and the ramification of a 5th. They chose to think the rules didn't apply to them, so that's their problem, not ops. I love when the villain blamed their victim because they got caught instead of stopped doing evil things. You met my dad, huh? They were probably kicked out of their last apartment, or at least told they couldn't renew their lease, because of similar issues. They clearly need to make some lifestyle changes to be more quiet. I wonder how much that new AC unit cost them. $500 is probably about what I'd expect for an older cheap one. I've gotten comments about this. It looks like $500 is a pretty high guess. I've, obviously, never bought an AC unit, and just guessed the number. It looks like it's area dependent, but usually around $200 to $400 for a good one, might be. And if utilities aren't included, running it 24/7 is going to be expensive. Honestly, I hate to be that guy, but if $500 puts that much strain on them, it sounds as though they're living outside their means anyway and shouldn't even live in that unit. Or own 2 pets, for that matter. Edit. To people flipping out in response to this comment and accusing me of classism and hating on the neighbors for being poor, you're missing the point. You can make $300,000 a year and still live outside your means if you willingly take on expenses you can't afford. If the neighbors don't have $500 to throw around, they shouldn't act like they do. In this case, that means avoiding unnecessary fines by taking repeated warnings about noise complaints seriously. And yes, unrelated to original poster's issue but surprisingly more controversial than I realized, that also means living somewhere within your budget and not taking on more pets than you can afford in the event of a medical emergency. In other words, I'm not ripping on the neighbor for having low income. I'm ripping on them for being financially irresponsible. What? I've lived places where rent is $600 bucks. My mortgage payment is $1,000. Are you seriously saying $500 bucks all at once isn't a strain, when it can be most of your rent or half a mortgage payment? I think they're saying that people should have that much in savings if they have enough to buy an AC or own pets. Realistically, many people don't have much savings in the best of times, and we're over a year into a pandemic and decades into trickle-down economics, so I'd cut people some extra slack on shaky finances. Of course, $500 is a lot of money at once, but for people who own 2 pets it shouldn't put them under insane financial strain. What do they do if their pets become ill? That bill will be more than $500. Then, rather than paying for reasonable pet insurance, they will guilt someone else into paying who will inevitably come post here about am I the butthole for not paying for my friend's/neighbor's dog's vet bill? Not the butthole. Really, what's with these people? You should be quieter during the night. Want to watch TV or play video games? Headsets are available. Laundry can be done earlier. It almost sounds like they bought a noisy AC unit just to piss off their neighbors. Keep complaining you and your neighbors every time they exceed normal noise levels. Eventually they'll get kicked out. Not the butthole. If you're the 5th complaint, they've upset a lot of people. You shouldn't feel bad. Original poster replies. Part of me wonders if I should have tried to talk to them again. $500 is a lot of money, and I could definitely see how it would strain them. It's not your fault. You did try speaking with them, it appears more than once. 5 complaints in a year is ridiculous. If they didn't want to be fined, they should have been courteous to those around them. Original poster replies. The lady came to me today and said if I retract my complaint they can get the $500 back, and if I had a conscience I should do the right thing. I'm torn because I didn't know they would be fined, but also, maybe this is the lesson they need? Do not rescind your complaint. They need consequences of their actions. Period. I'm also worried they'll remove it from their record, so they'll get off easier in the future. If they came around to you, they might have asked the other folks who complained too. Don't rescind. Original poster. This is the lesson they need. 5 other complaints about them. They knew of the fine even if you didn't. They didn't change their behavior when they got the first 4 warnings. What is more is that they knew they had 4 complaints and the consequences of a 5th complaint, and, yet, they smirked and slammed the door in original poster's face when he asked about the loud generator type of noise. They absolutely chose this consequence. What is more is that they knew they had 4 complaints and the consequences of a 5th complaint, and, yet, they smirked and slammed the door in original poster's face when he asked about the loud generator type of noise. They absolutely chose this consequence. All of this original poster. They knew when they slammed the door in your face what they were up against. They're grown adults responsible for their own actions. They're trying to manipulate you by saying if you have a heart you'd retract the complaint. They're trying to make it out as if you're the bad guy. Don't fall for it. I guarantee you that they'll start again and management will be less inclined to intervene on your behalf again. If they keep getting written up, eventually they'll get evicted or move and you won't have to deal with their bullcrap. If they had a conscience they wouldn't be so disrespectful of their neighbors, so don't let them guilt trip you. Original poster replies. I grew up in Korea where apartments are a common domicile for families. There are certain rules that I take to heart. Original poster replies. If my laundry is going to go long, I'll pull things out and hang them on a drying rack. I walk on the balls of my feet to try to be quieter, and I don't run the dishwasher, which I have recently discovered is a godsend, past quiet hours, etc. My friends tell me I'm too stingy with rules, so I was wondering if I was being too sensitive, crying face. I feel like these people's behavior would be considered incredibly rude by most Americans. They already had 5 complaints. Don't let them bully you. You are very considerate of others, and that's not a bad thing, not at all. Don't rescind the complaint. If they keep trying to bully you, tell them to go and try to rescind any of the other 4 complaints and leave you alone. Tell them if they don't stop harassing/bullying you about taking the complaint back that you'll file a second one. No. I live in an apartment complex and I like my TV louder, but I double check every 6 months or so that I'm not being too loud with my neighbors. I don't run the vacuum when I figure they're asleep. Original poster replies. That's so sweet of you. I wish my neighbors would take notes. Honestly, with some things I couldn't care less. Original poster replies. There are certain everyday living sounds that people can't help. Heavy feet, the occasional late laundry, arguments at home, etc. It just gets rough when it becomes excessive and disrupts the lives of everyone around them. Skeptical. If you rescind your complaint, they will know they can bully you and escalate their behavior accordingly. Stand strong. They are just trying to find out if you were the complainant. Do not fold to them. Do not show your hand. Do not take back anything. Original poster replies. That's a really good point. With 5 complaints, I guess it's also a fair point that the complaint could have been anyone at this point. Not the butthole. Please complain 5 more times. Maybe they will miss the rent and get evicted. But seriously. It sounds like they have no respect for others. Kudos to management for doing something about it. Original poster replies. The management here is definitely amazing. They addressed the concern the first day it was filed. I have lived in places where I thought management was strict. But for the better. This kind of tenants were always quick to move out. Original poster replies. I know it's awful of me to say this, but I hope they move out and live in a single-story residence where they don't have neighbors below them. I also feel awful for their German Shepherd and Husky. I don't know that it makes sense to raise such big dogs in a 790 square feet space. It's so sad when people buy dogs like that, Huskies in particular, that need so much exercise and attention, but then stick them in an apartment and spend most of their own time away from the dogs. No one cares what the dogs need, only what the dogs can do for them. Original poster replies. Yeah, my family had a husky as a kid and I can't imagine one being locked up for 7 hours a day nonstop. I get why the dogs are so aggressive, and why the cat probably can't adjust to the dogs. Oh my god. He has a husky? They're like the loudest dogs on the planet. They scream for F's sake. Original poster replies. Yeah, he's a bigger boy too. We had some problems in the past because he's super aggressive and bit another neighbor's little palm. He has to have one of those mouth guard things when he goes out now. Skeptical. So they are buttholes in more ways than one. They have no respect for others and now they're terrible to dogs. I've never heard of huskies being aggressive, so I'm sure it's their fault with bad training. Also, people need to learn that dogs definitely struggle from mental illnesses, and I bet there does from not being able to be a husky. Not the butthole. Tell them to alleviate their insane financial strain by selling the AC for $500. Original poster replies. Laughing out loud the way I laughed at this. Not the butthole. I would file a complaint every time they pissed me off. Original poster replies. Haha, I initially thought about doing that, but I didn't want to seem petty or provoke them further. Living under them puts me at a disadvantage. You can fix that by complaining. Not the butthole. They chose to live in a multi-family dwelling. They have to respect the ordinances put in place. Everyone has the right to peaceful living. If this was their 5th warning, they have no one to blame but themselves. It's not your fault they are under financial stress. It's not your fault they are asshats and choose to live somewhere where lots of people live. They have no respect for anyone. Report every negative interaction. You're in the clear. Not the butthole. You made one reasonable complaint after a long history of them being uncooperative and poor neighbors. If anything, you were pretty lenient considering their rudeness. The fact that they got a $500 fine is entirely on them. They have pissed off multiple other people and seemingly at no point made any attempt to alter the behaviors creating these complaints. If you hadn't complained, someone else was almost certainly going to be complaining sometime soon anyway. Original poster replies. This is true. Oftentimes my neighbors take on more poetic justice by just calling them out and arguing. I know that a few of the neighbors in our group chat are opting to call police now, especially where their pets are involved. Honestly, it's crazy how brazen they are. Not the butthole. Do not rescind your complaint. Has the noise gotten any better? Original poster replies. Not much. They definitely did something about the AC, but they've resumed nightly fetch sessions laughing out loud. Pretty ballsy of them to ask you to rescind your complaint while continuing the activity that caused the complaint. Not the butthole. You reap what you sow. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.